everybody. Welcome to the Stickers and Scuffs podcast. It's only Cam K this week. Graydon's taking a week off, but we're lucky enough to have Mark Hall from the Ontario Sportsman Series join us. Mark, thank you so much for taking the time this week.
Well, thanks for having us on, Cam. Nothing like talking about the series now that we got this positive momentum going for it. So,
well, let's take a step back, because one of the things that I think is very important when we do discuss race series in Ontario is that maybe not everybody's familiar with it. So let's go back into where does the roots from this series, Ontario Sportsman, where does it begin? I know it's a name that has gone through a lot of different alterations. So what would it be if we were to go back a couple years?
Well, the Ontario Sportsman Series was originally a branch off of the CASCAR Series. It was a CASCAR Sportsman Series once upon a time. And when CASCAR started getting, the Super Series started getting more expensive, in that it was a cheap alternative where guys could run short tracks across Ontario and into Quebec too. And it was very popular at the time. It was a very huge series at one time. And it also gave guys who couldn't afford to spend the big bucks to go into the CASCAR, the Super Series, it gave them an alternative to run cheaper but still be a traveling series, right? So it worked out pretty good. Great car counts in the beginning, and it has been very successful for many years.
So you've had multiple different iterations of the name. Obviously, I think the one that's a little more well known now is Lucas Oil Sportsman Cup. That was the long running name. Now we're going to the Ontario Sportsman Series for this year. You've got two new presenting sponsors for this year. Can you talk a little bit about those sponsors?
Yeah, automotivefluids.ca or AF International, as it's also known as, come on board this year. They've been great. They've they're really pumping some money into the series. They support. They also, I got something to be announced in here on the webpage in the next couple of days, or on the webpage and the social media stuff. AF has put a package together for the racers as part of your sign up when you originally sign up. There'll be a lot of product coming racers' way, courtesy of them and some of their suppliers. So that'll be it'll be all outlined on the Facebook page here shortly, the next couple of days. I just got it today, so I got to sort it all out.
So AF International is our first one. Then there's kind of a return of sorts of sponsorship. That's the second presenting sponsor.
Yeah, Maurizio, that's come on as our general manager of the series. Also, One Stop Auto. He used to own auto shops across the Greater Toronto area, and now he's more into the sales. He works as a sales go-betweens for supplying shops and stuff like that. So One Stop Auto has also come on and will be helping out too.
So let's talk about Maurizio for a little bit. He's I got to interact with him just a little bit. He's a very, very energetic personality. And one thing that I really got from just a sense of interacting with him just a little bit is that his enthusiasm for this series, it seems like it is the meter can only go so high, and he goes even further.
Yeah, sometimes I almost wonder if we got to get him a shot collar once in a while, because he's got a lot of energy, a lot of intensity. He's really He's bringing some other names. We got some other announcements to make. Other companies are coming on board. Things have really come together. His enthusiasm is definitely untempered. It's contagious. It can be very contagious too.
Well, and that's what's great to hear, is because Mark, one of the things I think that we can talk about is kind of the last couple of years within the motorsports community is, listen, it's been extremely tough for this series. You weren't really able to run a series last year, and the year before, really. 2020 was really, I think you guys ran two events kind of on the same day, and that's really all that could be run. And you're not alone in that fact. The Ontario Sportsman Series, Oscar, APC, Pinty's, everybody kind of had to go through the big scary word known as COVID. Well, now it seems like things are ramping up, but I don't know about you, but does it feel as if racing is actually, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it feels like it's in a better position than maybe it was, because all of a sudden it seems like there's just a lot more interest. I'm not sure like what it was that seems to be the tipping point here, but a lot of series are getting, some new sponsors, some new drivers. It seems to be a lot more interest.
Oh, I know. Last summer, from going around to different tracks, our races and other races, going to all the different tracks in Ontario, it seemed like they had really good crowds last year. And there was not maybe the opportunity to do stuff that normally would be during COVID, but the racetracks were opening and welcoming crowds, and were able to do big crowds. And I talked to so many people last year. It was the first time they'd been at a racetrack. This is awesome. I'm coming back. It was unbelievable, the number of people, or people we see in the pits that come over to us. I've never been here before. We're definitely coming back to see this again, right? And I think in an odd sort of way, COVID, I know people like to use the word the great reset, but for auto racing, I almost think it was really, it just people took a step back, saw what worked, what didn't work, and said just the same old all the time. And like I said, the new people at the track last year, that was phenomenal. The amount of people that were there.
And this is the thing is what we can kind of say is, and I'm not sure if I'm speaking out of turn. We said that this is a branch of the former CASCAR series. It still is in existence. Obviously, it's been a lot of years removed since CASCAR, but is this series similar in any way to the Pinty series? How can we is there comparisons to make?
The cars are very similar, very, very similar. They have the same mother and father, almost, is the way I guess you could look at it. Some of the cars in our series could very much go Pinty's racing, just upgrade to some of NASCAR's standards. And other than that, they're not that much different. Different motors. We predominantly have crate motors. There are some builds on series, but predominantly we're a crate motor series, where they have the spec motor that they're running in the States. They also have some builds in their series too, right? And we're just a way cheaper alternative for somebody to get their feet wet. If they wanted to go Pinty's, this is the perfect opportunity for them to learn the cars, learn the short track racing, learn dirt. It's a whole new experience this year. So it really is a good stepping stone, and it's a good way for sponsors to get their feet wet and get on the ground level. Way cheaper alternative to sponsor cars in our series than it is to sponsor a Pinty's car. But then, maybe they take the next step. They take the next step with that driver. That would be a perfect, match for people.
Which is great to hear, because it sounds like a stepping stone in a way similar to what we've seen with the APC series. In fact, Connor James, current APC driver, is a champion, former champion in this series. And little known fact for a lot of people, if you go all the way back to that CASCAR Sportsman, a really well-known guy by the name of Jason Hathaway ran in this series. I believe he won in this series too, actually. And so it can be used as kind of that next that step, especially when some of these Pinty's drivers, they've never been to some of these tracks. As you mentioned, going on dirt, that's a huge thing for a lot of these drivers this year. And you guys are going on dirt twice this year. Let's talk a little bit about that dirt track that you're going to this year.
Yeah, we're going to run at Southern Ontario Motor Speedway. What they've done there, Henry and his whole crew, what they've done there is unbelievable. The track is nothing like it used to be. It really is getting there to be a premier facility. It's still working on stuff every day with it. And we're looking really forward to going there. It's going to be fast. It's going to be very interesting. Hopefully we have plenty of cars there, and we welcome any Pinty drivers that want to come and learn dirt before they get their chance to get their feet wet at Oshwegan. So, it should be interesting. Looking forward to going there. And then we're ending our season there, which, really kind of throws a wild card into the mix. You have championship night at a dirt track. It could be, it's going to be interesting. Very interesting. Looking forward to it.
Well, and it's funny because from what I've seen, Southern Ontario Motor Speedway has amazing crowds. It is one of the most packed facilities I've ever seen in Ontario. And that's really hard to come by. Like it is, especially across with a lot of racing all happening on the same night. It makes it a lot more complicated. But you guys are going to be sharing the schedule with Southern Ontario Motor Speedway. You're going to obviously some long time tracks that the series has gone to. Can we talk about those tracks that you guys are going to?
Yeah, everybody's just chomping at the bit, get on that new asphalt at Delaware and check it out. That's where this series was born. That's where CASCAR was born. We want to go back there and get on without the plowed field look coming out of turn 4, and just it should be fast. It should be good. We put on great shows there. Our shows there last year were phenomenal, great shows. And then we're going to Peterborough this year. Peterborough, long time series. Cascar ran back there in the day. Peterborough is just such an action track, such a fast track. I love going to Peterborough. Great crowds there. Then we're going back to Sunset. Sunset, love that track. It's a great track too. They get really good crowds there. Great fans at Sunset. You see a lot of kids at Sunset. Really nice facility. And then we're going back to Full Throttle. Running a couple up there. That's a whole nother place that gets packed by their fans up there. They love it. That's a full contact track. It lots of fiberglass sales after that track. And then also Flamborough. We got our 2 at Flamborough this year, which is the mainstay of the series. Like, we've been going to Flamborough for a long time. So it's going to be a great series this year. It really is. A lot of diversity in what we're running. And
that is what's something that I think is very interesting to say. There's a lot of the Pinty series. It travels across Canada, and you mentioned about budget, right? It just isn't in a lot of teams' budgets to be able to go to every race. Well, this is an option that you can go to every event. It's in Ontario, so you're not going out of province. It definitely is cool. And I mean, even last year we saw current Pinty series drivers Sam Fellows and Alex Gannett ran in your series. So it's not unheard of that Pinty series drivers will go on, get a little bit of experience. And I think for young drivers as well, you've got this is what I say. It's one of the most kind of various in terms of the age differences in some of your drivers. I mean, you guys have some drivers in their young days, and then some, I won't say old farts, but there's some guys that have been around there for a while.
That's right.
So let's talk about some of those names. Obviously, with the connection to the series, Michael Herniak Jr. is a young driver in the series. Bradley Robinson is another young driver. But then you've got those young names, and then you have names like Mark Patrick, which is a name that has been around forever in racing. It seems like,
and his son racing also, right?
Yeah, so. and then you've got his son Brendan racing, and then you also have Chad McGlynn of the McGlynn brothers, which I don't know racing in Ontario without the McGlynns. So let's talk about these guys and what they bring to this series and what you're looking for, because last year, Chad McGlynn was able to win the championship. And what was shocking to me when I found this out is he had never won the championship before in all the years that he's been competing in your series.
Yeah, his brother definitely had some bragging rights over him. His brother's name appears on the championship trophy a few times, and Chad's trying to even up the score. He's got a few more to go yet to catch Sean, but it's just it's a great collection of drivers. Like, we have the veteran leagues. This year, our team, for instance, we have Sean Manja coming back to run. Sean is a name that was synonymous with CASCAR in the late 90s, but has been retired ever since then. Well, he wants to go at her again. So he'll be hitting all cylinders when he gets out there, and it's going to be interesting. And then you got guys like you got Kevin Trevelyan. Kevin's been doing it forever. He raced way back in the CASCAR days. Kevin's a veteran. It's hard to believe you call Kevin one of the old veterans out there, but he is. He's just been doing it for a long time. And then you got Michael Herniak Jr. that's on our team, like you said. And then we also got Todd Shepard out there. Todd really come on at the end of the year, won the last race of the year. Todd's going to be tough this year. And then you got Kevin Lay out there. Kevin's running real good. And then we got, like you said, Bradley Robinson. He's going to be running. We got other guys coming in. We got guys from all across the province that are going to come and run here and there. Mark Patrick's son is going to be running. So we'll have that father-son combination, which we had a couple different of those last year where it was father and son racing together. And we're probably going to have a couple more this year. So it's going to be, it's a very eclectic, I shouldn't say eclectic, but it's a very good mix of people, the veterans and the rookies. And it's a great stepping stone. It's also a great, when you're not going to put the big money into CASCAR anymore, or not CASCAR, sorry, NASCAR Pinty Series. It is a nice step back where you can run still, right? Well, and on a tenth of the budget, or if not less.
Yeah, it sounds so good on paper. Like, it really does, because when you look at it and go, okay, well, there is some great names from CASCAR. I would love to see some of these names come back and just run a race or two. Terry Mix or a Ron Beauchamp Jr. Just this would be the series. If they don't want to run Pinties, this would be what a showcase, right? This series is something that's so crazy. They did something that the Pinty series, I don't think we've seen. You guys got some legendary names to come race in your series from down south, some legendary NASCAR names that came and ran with you guys a couple years ago in Kenny Schrader, Kenny Wallace and
Yep.
Norm Benning. And I cannot believe that you guys are able to get that. And I believe it was the last time you guys raced at Full Throttle, right? So now you guys are going back there. You're not going to have those names, but how did that happen? Because that's crazy.
There was a couple different people that put it together. The management of the track at the time brought some people in. There was other factors where people brought them in, and it was a great thing. It was a fundraiser for the Special Olympics up there. Actually, the race.
Oh,
itself.
That's amazing.
And and you love to tie the charities into anything you can do too. So it was a really amazing night. The veterans that come in, those NASCAR veterans, they didn't have the best of night. Some of them can walk up a nose piece laying out on the track somewhere, and I think they all finished it. They were all in the other than Kenny Perk in it, they were all in the top 10 anyways. But no, it was good. It was good to see, and there's always some rental cars out there. You never know who could end up in them. I know I've gotten a few phone calls inquiring about one we happen to have sitting there. So, Kerniak tried to call me in the middle of the interview, so we're going to have to cut this short.
Yeah, it all of a sudden muted you. So I was like, oh no, what happened?
No, it was Mike trying to call me. Okay. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, NASCAR drivers. Okay. All right, so yeah, the NASCAR drivers coming in, it was a good thing. It was really brought exposure to our series, and there's lots of people asking again, and you never know who could end up there, right?
It's all about, like we said, coming out of this pandemic, coming out of really a tough couple of years. This is the biggest step that I think a series like this is we've seen. We've seen you guys on Race Time Radio. Maurizio was on there. You were on with Race Rivals. You're on this podcast. So you guys are getting back out there. And how does the crew behind the scenes feel? Obviously, there's a lot I believe that would have to go into putting a race season together. But is there renewed excitement behind the scenes?
Oh, the gang we got together now, it's a great group of guys. They're all passionate about racing, all love racing. A lot of them have been around a long time. Some of them are relative newcomers but they all have one common goal. They want to see success for the series. They want to see bring some excitement back, bring it back. And we've been able to attract a lot of contingency sponsors and race sponsors this year. And it's been there's announcements coming all the time. Matter of fact, I got another one I got to post later tonight that coming up. And it's really good. It's good to see. It's good to see the passion behind it, and people really want to see it succeed.
Well, and it's true. Obviously, race seasons. Now, let's just talk a little bit about the details behind the Ontario Sportsman Series. So let's talk about the race format for you guys. How does your race weekends, how do they go together? Do we have group qualifying, time trials? What's the race typically distance? What are we looking at?
Well, typically single car qualifying.
Okay.
Sometimes we adjust because of weather and stuff like that, or time constraints. We will go to a group qualifying thing. We're going to bring back this year where there's a random draw to possibly invert the top 5 this year, depending on what the draw is. We're not invert anybody. That was always a mainstay of the series back in the day, and we hadn't done it the last couple of years. That's going to be coming back. Typically, our races are 100 lapper. The dirt races are going to be a little bit shorter, and depending on other factors too, they may be a little bit shorter. But typically, we're scheduled for 100 lappers at every track we go to, other than the dirt.
I mean, it sounds great, because what are we looking at? Most of the time for the Pennies races, you're looking at 200, 250 laps. So it is almost a perfect, same even with the APC series. APC typically runs 75 to 100 laps. So it is a great kind of precursor to that, because it gets these names prepared, potentially to go out there and do the exact same thing. So obviously you guys have one hell of a season, to look forward to. And obviously there's still names, and like you said, there's still things to come out. And obviously the excitement behind it is, I think, more than I guess I've ever seen. I've seen some highlights over the past couple of years, and you've had a lot of names come in. I've had some names leave, but it almost, you need to have a core group of drivers, and it seems like you guys have got that. And we at the Stickers and Scuffs podcast are so in love with racing, and we love stock cars. And to see a series like yours. I mean, I remember watching it way back when, and Cascar Sportsman was the first race I ever saw was a Cascar Sportsman series event that was it was pretty exciting. And then we went on the last race I ever saw at Peterborough Speedway. We saw the Cascar Sportsman event, and it was Sean McGlynn, as you mentioned earlier. Sean McGlynn was the guy who won that race. And I, to this day, it was back in 2005, I think it was. And I can still remember every detail about it. And that's what's great. You know, we have the Pinty series, but when they go out west or they go out east, there's still options here to watch some fantastic short track racing. I'm going to throw this out there because I'm generally curious if this would ever happen, because you guys are going on dirt. Is there ever a plan, or have you guys ever thought of doing a road course event, or is that like completely off base?
Never say never. I don't know how many of the guys would be thrilled about doing that right now, but there was a couple interesting talks we had this winter when we were putting the schedule together, and it was kind of put together so late just because of when we took over. It was hard to make some of the stuff happen, and there's some stuff we're going to be talking about in the next off season. I'm not saying road course, but it's going to be something unique, possibly. Just a hint. And then we'll see. You
can't do that to us, Mark. Come on. You gotta give some details. Come on.
That's it. That's it.
Well, Mark,
let's just say I rode it in a golf cart and made the gears turn.
Well, obviously, there's a lot of exciting stuff to come. How can we follow the Ontario Sportsman Series on social media? Because there is social media for this series.
Yep. Ontario Sportsman Series .ca, our webpage. Most of your information there. If not, we're constantly updating stuff on the Facebook. Again, Ontario Sportsman Series on Facebook. We are also on Twitter. You'll find us under NSCA Sportsman Series, I believe, Ontario Sportsman Series. Mm-hmm. And also, we're also on Instagram now, and it's also Ontario Sportsman Series. So new social media, new logo, new attitude. We'll see.
and if anybody would like to participate this race season, what's the best way of contacting you guys? If there's technical rules that they have questions regarding, I know that is something that actually a lot of people do want to get confirmed if they're going to run the series. So if they have any questions regarding the series at all, what is the best way to reach out?
Ontario Sportsman Series @gmail.com.
Perfect.
From there, we'll direct to whoever takes care of that question. We'll direct it from there.
Well, the race season for you guys starts actually the same day that the Pinty series starts, except you guys are going up to Varney to Full Throttle Speedway. And we can't be more excited for this series. Obviously, I just love it. It's the Ontario Sportsman Series. It's a stock car racing series in Ontario. It gets in the name, so you got to make sure that you recognize that. Follow them on social media. This is Cam K with the Stickers and Scuffs podcast. I want to thank you, Mark Hall, for joining me tonight. Let's get going next season. This will be a lot of fun.
Want to back up 2 minutes because Hearn called me again. Go through your thank you again. Sorry.
Yeah, we're gonna say thank you, Mark, for coming on and joining me tonight, and we're really looking forward to this season.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, Cam. Thanks for all you guys do helping out short track racing in Ontario, and it's greatly appreciated. And we'll see you guys at the tracks this summer.
Oh, we'll definitely be there. It's going to be really exciting. We definitely want to make sure we can see some sportsman races. Obviously, it's 100 laps in most cases, and those dirt races are going to be something really fun to watch, especially if you get some ringers coming around. So
get your tickets in advance.
Yeah, there we go. Exactly. Do it right now and support those local short tracks, guys. They really need your support, especially after the last couple of years. So thank you, Mark Hall. Thank you guys for tuning into the Stickers and Scuffs podcast. We definitely want to thank this episode's sponsor, a brand new sponsor for our podcast, Helwa Financial Group, which has just come on board with the Stickers and Scuffs podcast. Thank you, Paul Helwa. We really appreciate your support.